Hello, everybody. Okay, so today we're going to continue chatting about the brain-skin connection. And this has been a popular topic as of late, and lots of people have resonated with um, identifying stress, overwhelm, anxiety, making them itchy, and also there hasn't been well since been around major life events and the personality the eczema personalities that we're chatting about on the video. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. So I'm also going to give you a little story about my journey. People are always asking about my root cause, and so I'll share a little bit about that. If you haven't watched the Facebook Live about is stress causing eczema that I did a couple weeks ago, drop stress below because I highly recommend watching that one first, because that's a little bit of a lead up to what we're chatting about today. So first of all, I'll start with my journey. So for me, I had all of the gut issues and I had the hormone imbalances. Like I would feel like I would be pregnant, that my stomach would be so bloated and I'd be in so much pain. My boobs people would ask if I would have a boob job because my boobs would get so big from the hormone imbalances, so much back and pelvic pain. And then also obviously eczema covering my body, all over my face, all over my legs, armpits, breasts, you name it. So I had all this, right? And, I was studying, this was in my mid-20s, and I was studying nutritional medicine, and I was going to the doctors, doing the testing, doing all of the things. I had access to the best nutritionists and naturopaths in the country, but still I was stuck in this cycle. So it was frustrating for me because I yo-yoed to the different creams and diets and everything. So a big turning point in my journey was the brain-skin connection. So for me, and this has been a journey that I've been on, is noticing that you can tell that I talk fast, like fight, do, go, busy, right? Patterns. So yeah, I finally realized and accepted that I've been in fight and flight survival mode my whole life. And part of the process that we go through, especially with the brain-skin connection, is understanding, why am I the way that I am, right? So a lot of this, it stems back to attachment styles from childhood stuff. And I realized that I just go, distract, do, achieve, do all these things. So it's interesting when you can start understanding what's actually happening in your body. Because for me, that's just who I was. And that was like, it was good because I had all these great traits from it. But I finally realized that there was no point where my body was ever in a state to heal. I had never given it space. Would never, ever relax, even though I would call myself chill. I was like, no, stress for me. Stress doesn't bother me. I'm chill. I'm fine. But I was just completely disconnected to what was happening in my head. So it's been a very interesting journey for me. And that's a big thing that we talk about in the Love Your Skin program, that slower is faster. And it is something that we talk a lot about for people that are getting started. So if you are just getting started, this is a thing with everybody, because you can go 110% and then completely crash. Or there's some people that are just really, really find it hard to get started. But that is a big thing, that slower is faster, and just doing things because we want to create long-term sustainable habits with everything. And it's a thing with your skin as well. So it's interesting because one of the main things when clients finish the program, and one of the main takeaways they always say is the brain-skin connection, and then showing up, rewiring that pattern so they could get their body in a state to heal. It's across the board with all the clients, the ones that show up, they do the work, they are conscious to rewire these patterns. They're the ones that are able to get themselves in a state to heal. So it is interesting because it's the same thing that keeps coming up. So you have a big group of people to be able to see what works and what doesn't, and what the commonalities are. So to give you a bit of background, so we have a psychotherapist that does the brain skin series in our program. And this is every mental health therapist, when they think of eczema, they're like, oh, I know exactly what it is. So for them, it's lack of boundaries with yourself and with others. So suppressing emotions, bottling things up, just getting by, and how that presents is distraction, busy, doing, planning, and also caring for others. So in the video before, we did the personality traits. If you watch that video, let me know which one of those resonated with you below. But what happens is it's beautiful because you're caring for everybody else, but you're not prioritizing yourself and your health. And then eventually the body just can't keep up anymore. So we had a discussion. It was in the Brain Skin series in the program last month. And it was really helpful. And I wanted to share this with you as well, is that sometimes with eczema, you can think, why me, right? I felt that when I was growing up, when I was like, I remember specifically when I was 10, I had eczema all over my face. It sucks, you know, when you're young. And then again, when I was in my mid-20s, right? And like, as a girl, you care about what you look like. So I understand what it's like thinking, why me? Why not the rest of my family? Or why not my friends? So when you can think of it from that brain skin connection, so if there's been a situation where there's chronic stress, anxiety that hasn't been resolved, you can have a lot of stress, but you can manage it and respond to it and move on, and it doesn't do anything. But when there's been a level of long-term chronic stress, this will present eventually as chronic illness. It doesn't matter. And so Karen, the psychotherapist, she does great work with us. She works with extreme mental illness in a hospital setting. So she sees the extreme part of it. So, and this is what she sees, right? So with eczema, we're a little bit of a different cohort, but it still is the same. So what's interesting is with long-term chronic stress, anxiety, unresolved trauma, what happens is it comes out through our skin. The body can't keep up anymore. And if you watch the last video, I explained the nervous system. The body can't keep up anymore and it comes out through the skin. You lose resiliency. And that's when the hasn't been well since picture is. And so for us as eczema, I use my sister as an example. For her, it's migraines. And this actually resonated with quite a few people in the program. They said, oh, hang on, I have eczema and my siblings have the migraines. Does that make sense? So that part of it's conditioning. Yeah, so it's a little bit higher level, but I thought I wanted to share that because it was a big aha moment for a lot of people to help them think it's not just me with eczema and how this long-term chronic stress can present physically. Does that make sense? If you're watching now or the replay, drop a yes below. I want to make sure that that landed. Okay, so I will also reiterate in the last video, and I'll highlight it again and again, it's not about avoiding stress, because if you're just going to think positive and you're just going to think happy thoughts and you're just going to move on and not think about it, you're suppressing, right? That's how you got here, if this is the picture. So it is about changing your response to stress. So are you reacting or are you responding? And can you get yourself be in a high stress state, and can you bring yourself back to baseline again so you can be in a rest and digest healing state? Does that make sense? So how do we start workshopping these things, right? So on the eczema symptom score, which is a version of what we use in the program, our symptom diary. So we look at, where are you scoring the most? Is it your nervous system? Okay, if that's high, you're not in a state to heal. And then we start looking at the gut, your immune, all of that. So for me, I had all these other symptoms. So gut, hormones, food sensitivities, all of that. And so if you would have asked me in my mid-20s what my stress response was, I would have been like, oh no, I'm not stressed, right? Oh yeah, I have a lot on, but it's fine. But what Karen says is that 95% of your thoughts are subconscious. So I was just complete disconnect. I wasn't actually aware of what was happening. So that can be a helpful place to start is that eczema symptom score. If you haven't done it, drop eczema symptom score below. And then that can help you start workshopping where to start. And then also, if you did score really low on stress anxiety, perhaps maybe tuning into maybe that is a thing. And maybe there are a lot of things bouncing around. Like I'll always call it thoughts ping-ponging. So yeah, that's a good place to start. And then I guess the end goal is to be able to just respond. And some of the great, actually, we can maybe even pop some screenshots in the comments, but some of the great examples of people responding versus reacting in the group was being in traffic, right? Getting like, you're on all the time when you're in traffic, right? Because your brain is programmed to sense danger, right? So that's a real kind of fight and flight, rest and digest situation with the two different nervous systems. So your brain's always going to be scouting for danger. But sometimes it might just be, okay, somebody slammed on their brakes in front of me, and that can elicit a big stress response. But one of the girls had said, oh, I was in traffic and I noticed right away this activation, and I started doing all of the nervous system regulating tools, which was great. Another one had said there's a situation with her kids, and same thing. She's like, usually I would have completely just lost it, and now I was able to respond. So these are all examples of how you can rewire that. And it doesn't happen overnight. And the people that are coming to the calls every week and noticing these things and then using the tools to rewire it. And that's actually what makes a difference, because what happens is long-term, right, when we're talking about how this presents as chronic illness, it will affect your gut. So a lot of IBS, we know there's the gut-brain connection. A lot of IBS and gut conditions are connected to high stress and anxiety. Yeah, and a lot of people, like, if you've ever felt butterflies in your stomach, or if you've ever had a nervous poo, or a really, really stressful period, that's been really, I guess, more of hypoarousal, so feeling like collapse or freezing, that will slow your bowel movements. So I can always tell by people's their nature. I can always tell what their bowel movements are going to be like. So, but that is a thing, and that's a connection. Also with your hormones, you're not going to be able to bear a child if your body's in fight, flight, survival mode, right? It's like, this is not a time to be bearing a child for guys and girls, right? So there's all these different cues. And when you think of it in the sense of your nervous system, this brain-skin connection, your nervous system is what controls every single organ. So if there's a disconnect in your nervous system, there's going to be a disconnect everywhere else. If your body's thinking that you're in survival mode and there's a true threat, then your body isn't going to be saying, well, actually, let's start restoring our skin. It's using its resources to run away from the tiger and to bring you back down to safety. All right. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that you can kind of connect the dots with what's happening in your body, because over a long period of time, your body just can't keep up anymore, right? Your body's always producing this immune response and inflammation. We see this with the white blood cells. Your white blood cells go low, suboptimal low, and then you're going to be prone to chronic infections. And this is where people's IgE goes up all the time. And this is where people are getting sick all the time. They can't heal and repair their skin. There's so many different flow of effects. So like I always say, listen to what your body's telling you, right? Do the eczema symptom score, see what symptoms you're presenting with, and then that will help you see which body you need to start healing. So I hope that was helpful. I gave lots of pearls in there. So I would love to hear in the comments below what your main takeaway is, and then maybe what's one thing that you can start implementing from here to help heal your skin.